Warning, this video may be disturbing for some audiences. I'm in love with my twin brother. Welcome to r/confessions, where people share their most disturbing confessions. I've used meth for about 2 years and it's been great. 2 years ago I was a line cook making 10/hours. 2 months after my first high I quit the job and went on a bender for 12 days. When I ran out I slept it off and relaxed for nearly a week. Went online for jobs and got hired at a warehouse at 13/hours. I now make 17/hours and getting a 1.50 raise on the first and a new position, basically foreman, not a supervisor, but also not the regular expendable crew either. I smoke every day and just keep progressing. I don't smoke much at all every day, just enough to put a little extra pep in my step. It's crazy to me that of all things to motivate me, it's one of the worst drugs out there to use. I don't recommend my method of motivation, however I cherish this demon. Not only has it helped me professionally, it's made me sexually carefree. It's opened doors I never would have thought. Yet if I tell anybody what I did to progress as a man, they would snap the fuck out. I was groomed. I realized recently that my teacher crossed so many boundaries in high school. I don't think she did it intentionally to groom me, but I still think what she did was fucked up. I, 26F, had a teacher, 30s, in high school starting sophomore year, and I had a crush on her pretty quickly, as I was gay, and I knew she was too. She was always nice to me, and we quickly bonded over our love of coffee and the fact that she was getting divorced, and my parents had recently split. I would stay after school or class to talk to her, and she was always very open about her personal life and she would hug me and offer to buy me coffee. She started asking about my personal life more, and I told her I was gay and other private things going on in my life. I usually stayed late after school by an hour or two to do work and she would drive me home. We started chatting on mail, and sometimes I would be the first person to message her, but she would message me first too. Eventually, she asked me to babysit her son, meaning I would be at her house late at night alone with her, where we would talk for a while before I went home. I have no idea what my parents thought. They knew I had a crush on her, but many of the teachers at my school were close with students, so I don't think they thought too much of our closeness. By the time I was a senior we were still hanging out at school every day and got coffee after school at least a couple of times a week. I'm pretty sure she gave me her phone number. I've since deleted the messages, so no way to check, and we were texting regularly. During senior year I went to the Pride Parade, and she said she would be there too, so we met up briefly and took a picture together. When I graduated she immediately friended me on Facebook and suggested we hang out before I was off to college. I went to her house for dinner and I brought alcohol. I know that was bold of me, but she wasn't shocked and didn't seem to mind that I was 18, and we had a nice dinner and some drinks. Dinner was normal, but as we both drank a bit more we went to her bedroom for her to show me some new clothes she had, and I insisted she change in front of me. Since we were both girls, I ended up making a move to kiss her, and things progressed quickly from there. After that, we hooked up several more times before I left for college. She refused to admit she had any feelings for me before I graduated. When I told her my feelings she basically shot me down. To her, I may have been a fling, but for me, I had been crushing on her for years, and for it to finally become something real was mind-blowing. So to have her treat me just as a hookup was heartbreaking. I realize now that she should have not treated me so differently in high school and crossed all of the lines with me. What she did wasn't illegal, I think, but it has left me realizing that I should not have had to go through that. Finally, 8 years later, it's left me so confused and sad, thinking it was my fault. I've struggled with relationships ever since, and I hope I can get past this someday. I don't feel any remorse for my actions and no one knows. Trigger warning. Backstory, I was set up for adoption straight after I was born. My parents committed self-deletion together after they cut their ties with me. I can't remember my time as a toddler, naturally, but there has always been one memory that stuck with me since I was 5. I killed the rabbit that we had in the garden with a rusty-ended rake. I stabbed it multiple times, even though it was motionless on the ground. I proceeded to nonchalantly lift the bloody corpse and dump it in the dumpster we had outside. I then lifted some trash bags set next to it to hide the body. I then washed the bloody rake with a hose, leaving no trace of what I did. The carers were fully convinced that the rabbit had ran away from underneath a gap in the hedge. I didn't feel bad for what I did. I remember smiling back on it. 4 years later I lighted the shed on fire with a match and some dry paper towels I found in the kitchen. The carers didn't have any explanation for that. They got a little suspicious of the older kids, but never of my sweet 9-year-old face. I got adopted at 11 by an elderly couple. They were nice enough. I was 14 when I lit their blanket on fire. While they were still in bed, the flames reached the husband, scorching his hand. He woke up and woke the wife up. Bear in mind I had went to my bed and was pretending to be asleep while they put the fire out. The husband had to go to hospital to treat the burns. They never thought I was me. They had to fight the wife, blaming it on the husband's light that was idle on the nightstand. The man claimed it never moved. I had matured when I was around 10, so I knew what I was doing was wrong, but I can't stop myself when I see an opportunity. I didn't tell anyone, ever. I was a loner at school and was never any good at making friends, so I was alone all my school life. The wife died of heart failure when I was 16 and the husband committed self-deletion out of grief. A neighbor found his body whilst I was at school. I didn't know what to think or feel when I got the news. I was sent to the police station during school hours as the police wanted to question me. I'm pretty sure they found something in their home that wasn't exactly legal. I never found out, as I slipped through their fingers when they had stopped questioning me and told me to wait in the lobby. I didn't want to go back into care, so I ran. I was homeless for 3 years, and by some miracle I got a job last year and that got me an apartment. I haven't had any breakdowns after I ran from the police. My idol's dark secret. When I was 9/10 I had a teacher who meant the world to me. I thought he was so great. Everyone did. He was so cool, and I looked up to him and wanted to impress him. When he left my school for another one, I still wanted to make him proud. You know, he really had an impact on everyone's life. The day he left he told me, "I'm going to miss you. You know that, don't you? You're a star. Don't let anyone take that away from you." And I believed it. for years. It became my reason for living, knowing someone saw me and thought of me like that. He said I could write books. He said I was a star. It kept me going for years. After he was gone, sometimes a teacher can change your life. Years later my parents told me something that messed me up. It turns out he was a pedophile. He had over 700 images of kids being abused on his computer. He wasn't allowed to see his children anymore, and he told the courts it was his dark secret. He downloaded that stuff. He looked at it. I didn't understand, and even now, when I'm almost 20 years old, I still don't. How could the person who made me believe in myself be a monster? When he was looking at that stuff, his wife was literally pregnant, and he had another child who was so young, mad he was teaching kids. I don't even know how to process that. How could he? Even now I still remember how his words changed my life and inspired me. I thought of him as so good, and I struggle to reconcile how he helped me with who he really is. Is it wrong that I still struggle to understand how someone who was so kind to us could be so evil? Maybe I was just naive as a child, but God, I feel sick thinking about it. How could that gentleman be such a monster? Jesus. I'm in love with my twin brother. Pretty much as the title says, me and my twin brother have been in a romantic relationship since we were teenagers. We are in our early 20s now. The only reason I'm making this post is because I'm just so tired of keeping it a secret. Absolutely no one in our lives knows about this, not even our closest friends, because of the possibility of being shunned even by them. Like, I get why people mistrust incest relationships when there's a big age difference because of the power play element, but why do people care so much about consensual adult siblings like us when there's literally no age difference? What's funny to me is that we live in a very LGBT accepting country. We have the privilege of being able to show love publicly without fear of repercussion, unless it's between us, of course. Then people would not just call our relationship disgusting, but also us. I know this isn't really me actually telling anyone, since this is a throwaway, and I'm trying to be as undescriptive as I can be, but I just needed to get this off my chest. I didn't choose who to love, and I'm still gonna love him to bits. Feel free to ask questions. I'll try to come back to this account over the hours to answer some of them. Oh, and if you're just going to be rude, just save both of us the time and fuck off. Edit. There seems to be a bit of a confusion. We are identical twins. We are both guys. Reproductions is not gonna be a problem. It's on me. In Spanish we have a different word for identical and non-identical twins, and I forgot that's not a thing in English. I cheat to guilt myself into becoming a better partner for the rest of the relationship. Of course I don't let them know. I just do it early on, so when they do shit during the relationship I'm secretly guilty over my own thing, and I'm more understanding of them. Very fucked up. When I don't do this, I feel like I'm the one being cheated, getting the shorter end of the stick. I know it's not them though. It's me, and I don't know how to fix me. I don't know how to trust, which I know is ironic given the shit I'm doing. When I was 14, a girl in my taekwondo classes kept kicking boys in the balls hard whenever she'd get frustrated or felt like having a giggle until I slipped and broke her jaw. She was the same age as me. No regrets. And no, she did not do it accidentally. Sure, that happens sometimes, but everyone could tell that was not the case with her. Everybody knew, and it happened way too often, and she was way too happy about it. Should be considered sexual violence when it's motivated by whatever the fuck it was that motivated her in my eyes. She deserved it. It makes me feel so good fucking over my coworker. I have two lazy coworkers. Long story short, they are very give an inch, take a mile. One in particular tried taking advantage of me by asking me to work in the office 1 day a week when I'm pretty much WFH and he isn't. The point was he could leave a little early, an hour or so, and I would lock up for him. I did it as a gesture of goodwill, even though it was a burden for me, and I didn't have to. It quickly morphed into a situation where instead of leaving an hour or two early, he was trying to leave 5 or 6 hours early, which is a problem, because if something comes up that he's responsible for, then I'm on the hook for doing his job if I'm on site. I wasn't opposed, per se, but I asked him if he could do some scanning for me in exchange. I was asking for 20 minutes of his time. He said he was way too busy with his own work and couldn't help me. I told him it was okay because I'm coming in tomorrow, which is the day he gets to leave work early, so I would do it myself then. Instead, I came into the office that day and caught him watching Terminator 2 on YouTube. He clearly wasn't expecting me, and the minute he saw that I saw he was watching Terminator, he got up to work. So when he said I'm too busy to do your scanning, what he really meant to say was if I was so stupid to come to the office to help him out when I didn't have to, then I'm probably too stupid to believe his claim that he's too busy to help me. So I stopped coming in and didn't even tell him. Totally fucked up his week because he was totally used to leaving early. At least he has more time to watch YouTube. 20 meters, still find myself missing the worst, most abusive relationship of my life. I was discharged, honorably, from the US Army in May 2020 after roughly 2 years of service due to mental health issues. I started talking to a girl I knew from school about a month before I came back home. I was immediately completely in love. We started dating the day I got back. I never noticed all the toxic things that she did. You can't see red flags through rose tinted glasses, like make me put her fingerprint in my phone, go through the conversations I had with any girl I had ever talked to, constantly accuse me of cheating, make me block every girl on my social media and delete their numbers from my phone, even long-term friends, make me share my location with her. 24/7, tried to convince me to marry her after 4 months. I didn't. Told me she'd break up with me if I didn't prove I loved her by buying her an engagement ring. I did. Wouldn't let me go out with my male friends, etc. We had a fight one night when she accused me of cheating again, and I was 100% innocent. Every second I wasn't sleeping or at work I was with her. I couldn't have cheated if I wanted to. Even her own mother told her that. But I was sick of her acting like I did something I never did. I tried to leave the house, but she blocked the doorway and shoved me back in. Nothing that could hurt me. I'm 5 minutes and 10 seconds 180 pounds and she's 5 feet 4 inches probably 110 pounds soaking wet. But it was the violence with which she pushed me that scared me. She told me that she had already thought we were breaking up, so she got advice from her ex-boyfriend, a Marine who supposedly beat her, about what to do. I was able to leave the house by getting out the door faster than she could get there and drove home. I came back the next day, asking her with a tear in my eye why she would go and talk to him, the only person I ever asked her not to talk to anymore, the moment she knew our relationship was over. She told me that no matter what I said he was her soulmate the entire time and that if I was going to cry about it, I should just go back to the mental hospital. That got me kicked out of the army because there someone would care. I completely broke down. I bawled my eyes out for days. I wanted to disappear. That was the straw that broke the camel's back, and I left the relationship. It was the hardest thing I've ever done. I haven't been able to come close to dating anyone since. I'm still emotionally torn from it. Yet, every time I close my eyes alone in bed, I wish she was there with me. And I hate myself for it. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, please consider subscribing. It really motivates me to keep making these videos. Have an amazing day.